I'm betting weekly because we win. That is our motto. Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show. That River sponsor. It's time to start. Enjoy the show.
And a very good day to one and all. This is Betting Weekly Live. You're with Dan Roebuck alongside me, Ruairidh Barlow. We're going to be talking soccer. Big game in England tonight, of course. Arsenal take on Crystal Palace, hoping to prevent Liverpool from at least celebrating the title tonight. It'll probably come at the weekend. And also, we've got a full programme in Spain, of course. That's why Rory is with us. We've got 4 La Liga games tonight. We might even get his thoughts on tomorrow's very quickly as well. And also some Italian football in Serie A. Because there was postponed games on Monday, as we know, so they've been rescheduled for today, and we've got 1 or 2 leans and plays for you on that as well. Make sure you tag us in at Because We Win. Sign up to the newsletter if you haven't already, bettingweeklystudios.com. Rory, long time no see. How are you? How is Madrid? Depress me. How warm is it at the moment?
It's delightful to see you, Dan. I will say it is very sunny now, but we did have the wettest March in the history of Madrid. So that made a lot of people at home feel better about my presence in Spain. And people who visited me in Spain feel very sad about the fact that there was torrential rain.
A very good day to one and all. Rick is with us. Morning all. The only bet I won was my usual Mallorca 0-0 at half-time. Which cashed, of course. Duncan, a very good day to you. Kwame, good day. Steve from Lynn. Daniel is with us. What else we got? Byron, morning, boys. Disky says, welcome. Well, good to see you, Dan and Rory. The real Brendan King, welcome back, Rory. Ming says, good day to you both. Yeah, that 0-0 Mallorca game, Rory, at least at half-time, and then Barcelona, of course, scored close into the second half, first to second minute, I think, wasn't it? I mean, Barcelona just doing enough at the moment because it was a fairly wild game at the weekend where they only won by 4-3, was it, or whatever it was?
Yeah, they were completely opposite performances in many ways because against Celta, they were probably lucky to turn it around. They got penalty and stoppage time of the second half and didn't play particularly well, defended very poorly, it has to be said. Against Mallorca, it was probably one of their best performances in the last month or so. They had 40 shots. I think it was 12 or 13 saves the goalkeeper made. It was at the point where the defenders were laughing during the game at how many blocks they put in. So, yeah, the 0-0 was right on time for you there. But yeah, Barcelona were unlucky not to score more.
Yeah, I looked at some of the stats. I think Steve Wiss put them up as well on Twitter. They were unlucky not to be leading at half-time, but that bet was cash, so well done. What else have we got from the comments here? Joe says Barcelona set to lose the match. They are asking for it. Well, we'll get Rory's thoughts on Barcelona's game against Inter, which is next week at some stage over the course of the next half hour, 40 minutes or so. Dave Clark likes Madrid on the money line. We'll get Rory's thoughts on all of the Spanish games coming your way. Let us know what you're betting on this Wednesday night as it is in Europe. Lots of really good plays from the betting weekly customers, the Bet Rivers gang. Some significantly large wages on some of the NBA. $32,000 play on the Thunder on the money line. Very short price at -910 was a winner, as was one of the Red Sox baseball, of course. $20,000 play on the Lakers on the money line. $12,000 play against the Timberwolves. And we've got a special bet for you as well. Any 3 Wednesday NBA playoff games to go to overtime at +415. If you want that house special, you're more than welcome to it. Man City on the money line last night, a $12,000 play that cashed very, very late on, -124 against Aston Villa. And also a $10,000 play, Man City versus Villa, under 3 on the Asian line, which was a push. Whoever that better was, they probably thought they were going to win that, apart from that late goal. I don't know if you're across the Premier League at all, or obviously Pep Guardiola. He seems to be sort of re-engaged and sort of reignited with his time at City. I mean, he went wild on the bench last night when City got that late winner. What's the sort of story in Spain with Pep? Do they want him back? Do they think his time at City's coming to an end?
I think in Spain, there's very much a feeling that this was kind of the end of the road for Guardiola, but again, he does seem to be kind of reinvigorated. And what you're essentially seeing, I think, is something that Pep has done at City a couple of times, but something that he's never really done in his career in other places. And that's kind of recycle the sides, turn over lots of players, things that he didn't do in Spain or Bayern. In Spain, certainly at Barcelona and again at Bayern Munich, it was, I'm done, I'm here for 2-3 seasons, and then that's me, I'm gone. Whereas at City, he does seem to have enough comfort around him in terms of the sporting structure and in terms of what City provide him challenge-wise to want to continue. And I guess the other question is, where else do you go if he still wants to keep working?
Indeed, it's a difficult one for him to a certain extent, unless he goes sort of Spanish national, so I can't really see that, but you never know. Notable Wednesday streams. If you have got a Bet Rivers account on the app, on the website, we've got all 4 La Liga matches live for you, 6 Copa Libertadores games as well, also 6 Copa Sudamericana fixtures. We've got Portuguese Cup football for you. Benfica are in action. There's also a Belgian league. We're into the post-season mini-league now. Anderlecht take on Genk in the top flight. Also, Austria Vienna against Sturm Graz in the Austrian Bundesliga, obviously. And there's football in the Czech Republic and indeed in Sweden. And don't forget about the tennis. And we've got the live tennis show coming a little bit later, 1 p.m. Eastern, with Tim and Rory, ATP and WTA Madrid live streamed. I'm just going to run through some thoughts on Arsenal Palace. I will be at the game a little bit later on. Let us know what you think and where you think the best bets are. A lot to consider here because the fixture has been brought forward because of Crystal Palace's involvement in the FA Cup semi-final at the weekend, where they play Villa on Saturday. Oliver Glasner has suggested that he's going to rotate, but not a lot. Mikel Arteta has suggested something similar. He's also said that Bukayo Saka will probably play some sort of part, whether that's starting and coming off early or whether that's coming on late, we shall see. So I don't think there's going to be huge rotation, but you never know. Managers like to play their cards close to their chest. Arsenal are minus 275, Crystal Palace are plus 800, as you can see. If Palace win, Liverpool win the title. That's something else to consider. I'm sure that Mikel Arteta would like to see Liverpool at least be pushed to another weekend. Interesting thing here is that, as we know, I've been banging out on the Premier League show every single week that Arsenal are the most profitable under 2.5 goal side in the league, and Crystal Palace are profitable as well if you've played unders all season. However, the head-to-head suggests that it might go overs tonight because we've seen 5 goals and 6 goals in the 2 meetings, one in the League Cup and one in the Premier League. So I'm sort of split here between under and over. I'm going to play unders tonight at plus 100. I think it's a value play. I think if we get to sort of 65, 70 minutes and Arsenal are a goal to the good, 2 goals to the good, given what's coming up for Crystal Palace at the weekend, and of course Arsenal in the Champions League next midweek, they may well sort of shake on it and we might not see too much action for the final 20 minutes. So under 2.5 goals is going to be my play. I've got some thoughts on shot on target in just a second, but I just want to bring Rory back in. I don't know if Mikel Mourinho's going to play tonight because Mikel Arteta will want to play him against Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, he's had a complete rebirth, Rory, in terms of his position. He's been press-ganged into playing up front. He's got, I think, 7 in 15 for club and country since he joined. He's plus 210 to score at any time tonight. Again, I don't think he's going to start, but I mean, did you see it coming with Mikel Mourinho? He came to Arsenal and he got injured straight away. We didn't see the best of him, but he's probably playing his best soccer of his Arsenal career at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a player that has had presence in the box. He's always been very good in the air, someone that you can kind of rely on to chip in with a few goals this season. But me and you, Dan, back to the very kind of early days of Because We Win, we'll know that Real Sociedad have always struggled for goals. And so this, for me, is just a cruel continuation of the joke on them. Since they sold Alexander Isak, they have not found a clinical striker. And so to see Merino performing like he is for Arsenal is a rough one for La Real. But yes, I don't think anybody saw him as the centre forward he is currently, or certainly as the kind of makeshift centre forward. But you have to say that he's an all-round player. He's the sort of player you could imagine playing at centre-back as well, good in the air, talented, technically gifted, and he's a smart player ultimately. And Mikel Arteta has been smart enough to see how he could use him, and just ask Real Madrid how they fared against him.
Yeah, a fantastic goal, wasn't it, in that 3-0 success, along with those 2 Declan Rice free kicks. What do the Betting Weekly public think about this game, do we think here? Byron says Arsenal going to go strong, Palace rotate, Arsenal and over 2.5 is around even money. Kwame says, talking about Getafe and Juventus, we'll get to those games shortly. What else we got? Joe says, I like Palace to get a goal here, but after that Newcastle performance, I'm not so sure. Byron says, check the lineup because of the FA Cup this weekend. This is true. Noah says, Arsenal minus 125 on the Asian line. And both teams to score no might be the way to play it. What has Duncan come up with here? Palace 100% focused on the Cup. Can see Arsenal winning, pulling up. It might be just one of those easy 2-0 successes. Effie says, Arsenal on the money line. Team total over 1.5 goals. Don't mind that one at all. Nish says Arsenal win and over 1.5 goals. That's the general sort of consensus. Joe says Saka anytime goal scorer. He's the favourite anytime goal scorer. I'm not 100% certain he's going to start. He limped out of that Ipswich game after that horror challenge from Leif Davis. It's debatable, but Mikel Arteta has said he's probably going to play. Byron says Dan, Arsenal are going to get at least 2, maybe 3 by themselves. You have what's that? You have to have grande huevos to play under say. What does that mean, Rory? Grande huevos.
Literally big eggs.
Big eggs.
You can make the connection yourself there, Dan.
We can interpret that. I'm playing unders. So look, stand on me. Arsenal are an unders team. 20 minutes left. Nothing's going to happen. Both coaches will want to protect their players. 5 goals in the last 10 minutes. Effie says best bet in the Belgium is Genk on the money line. We're not going to talk about that one, but I know Effie's very strong on the Belgian top flight. Joe says plus 170 for Saka. I'll probably play him live from the 20th minute or so to have a shot on target. Yeah, it's an interesting one. The one for me I thought was Zinchenko. If he starts, he started at the weekend. Played left back, then moved into left midfield. I don't know if he's going to start. If Arsenal do rotate, I think he's got half a chance of starting in midfield if the likes of Rice and Ødegaard might get a little bit of a rest tonight. And if he does play, he's plus 460 to have a shot on target. He started 11 games for club and country this season. He's had a shot in 8 of 11 of them. He's had a shot on target in 2 of 11. It's about 18%. So plus 460 is about right, but some of those figures, obviously, we're talking about him playing left back. He might just play left midfield. He might play in the Ødegaard position on the right-hand side, which we've seen. It's a bit of a flyer. Obviously, you've got to wait for the team news, but Zinchenko at plus 460, a shot on target, if he starts, might be a little bit of a flyer for you. But under 2.5 goals, even money is my main bet on the game tonight. I'm going tonight, working at the game, so let's hope it's a boring one. That's the Arsenal game this evening. I don't think Mourinho's going to start. Be interested to see if he does. We have had a $3,000 play on Palace over 2.5 corners at minus 156. We've had a $2,500 play on Arsenal on the money line, $1,700 play on Arsenal on the money line as well. We've got a special, both teams to score, Arsenal to win against Palace is plus 230. Most of the money has come on Palace. Most of the money has come on overs, incidentally. And a nice stat from Troy here. Martinelli has scored at least 1 goal in 4 of Arsenal's last 5 Premier League matches against Crystal Palace. Probably going to start Martinelli. He has been rejuvenated after injury and he's playing really well. Both teams scorers hit in 6 of Arsenal's last 7 Premier League's night games, incidentally. They like it under the lights, apparently, at the Emirates. Let us know what you bet. What else we got here? Just as Arsenal, half-time, full-time, even money. Maybe the Sarkiokli and Ketcher to score. Is that to score first or just to score at plus 500? Yeah, against his former club. He could well start as well. I think there's going to be a bit of rotation. Not the worst bet there, the Sarkiokli. Yeah, don't mind that one at all. We'll keep our eye out for that one. Let's talk La Liga with Rory. That's why we've got our man in Madrid on the show for you. We'll go game by game, Rory, over the course of these fixtures. Let's have a look. Athletic Club against Las Palmas, first of all here. There has been a little bit of money for Las Palmas. They are plus 750. They were plus 850. I don't know what to make about Athletic Club at this moment in time, Rory, and hopefully you can steer us in the right direction. Because obviously they've got the Europa League to concentrate on next week. They're going to play Manchester United, the finals at San Mamés. And La Liga, correct me if I'm wrong, have definitely got 5th spot making the Champions League. Yeah. So they've got a little bit of a buffer. How are they taking their La Liga fixtures at the moment? Because they've not been great, have they? Was it 2 La Liga wins in their last 7 for Athletic Club? I mean, do we fade them? Do we back them? Are they resting for that game against United? How do you see that one?
Yeah, it's a very tricky one with Athletic. It's hard to say because I think if you look at that run of 2-6, a lot of that was down to goals. They went three games in a row without scoring, and you can really kind of draw a causation, in my view, between that and the absence of Oyan Sanset, who wasn't starting for a while. He was out injured, and then there was some rumours that I won't go into as to why he wasn't in the team. But yeah, so Sanset not being in the side had a big impact on them. This weekend, Real Madrid beat them 1-0, which is probably about a result you'd expect, although not having taken into consideration the fact that they were resting players. They rotated about 6-7 of their players for that game. So that tells you that they'll be fresher against Las Palmas than Las Palmas will be, having stuck it out against Atletico Madrid and beat them at the weekend. And Las Palmas have also improved. So that's one to look at. I think for me, I looked at this one. It really depends on Sanset and Athletic. Can they score those goals? Because Las Palmas kind of minus on the money line, the Asian handicap, plus 125. That's something I'd look at as well. I think Athletic are unlikely to kind of pull away from this Las Palmas side. But having said that, if Sanset is on form, we've seen him. I mean, he stuck one in the top corner the other day, having only played about half an hour. So yeah, this is one I steered away from. I did look at it quite in depth. For over 2.5 goals was the one I looked at, and Las Palmas on the Asian handicap. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I ended up just avoiding it just for safety reasons, basically, because I think it could go one or two ways.
Yeah, I think Las Palmas have got one or two players out as well, haven't they, at the moment? So it's not a straightforward pick, that's for sure. In terms of what you guys like there in the comments here, what have we got? Effie says Athletic Club on the money line. Team total over 1.5 goals. Lean Bilbao. Team total over 2.5. Joe says don't like Athletic Club at all in this one. Noah says will Las Palmas score here? I mean, they have been better, as you've mentioned, because they had a horror run. They didn't win for about 3.5 months, did they? And then I think they've won their last time out. I don't know how fortunate they were against Atleti last time out. Atleti seem to be in a strange place at the moment. We've had a little bit of money for under 2.5 goals today. It's around about even money. It was trading about plus 120 before. Under 2.5, says Nish. Las Palmas also spring one or two surprises. I think they've got injury issues. We're swerving it. No official play from myself and Rory on that one, but I wish you well, whichever one you're playing. Do you think we'll get to the European competitions right at the end of the show? I was just about to ask you whether you think Athletic Club will win the Europa League. I'll save that question. Let's get back to the La Liga fixtures. This is an interesting one. Celta Vigo versus Villarreal. Villarreal in 5th at the minute. Obviously, that Champions League spot is going to be a battle with Real Betis potentially. Celta Vigo also aiming for a European spot potentially. I looked at this one, Rory, and just thought overs is huge here. Both of these teams are in the top 6 for over 2.5 goal percentage, in the top 4 for over 3.5, and in the top 3 for both teams to score yes. I can only see goals in this one. What do you like in Celta Vigo Villarreal?
Yeah, certainly it's one to look at, especially if you're trying to get that onto a parlay. I think this Villarreal side haven't really worked out how to defend all season, with kind of one or two exceptions. And Celta Vigo are a team that are notable for the fact that they kind of play quite an open, free-flowing game. They're ambitious in their style. So it's an entertaining game to watch for me. I think I'm looking at Villarreal here because I think they've improved a lot in the last 3 or 4 games. And okay, you can look at it, and I think it's only 1 or 2 wins in their last 5 or 6. But you look at the win that was against Real Betis, who are one of the form teams in Spain right now. Real Sociedad, they drew at the weekend. They had 3 goals disallowed. 2 of them really bend the rules and imagination as to how they were ruled out. And then there was another one against Getafe, another win away from home. So that's pretty impressive stuff for me. And away, I think they're the second best team in Spain. So that gives you an idea that they like the sides coming onto them a little bit more, which is something that Celta will do. And I think if we do get into a slog, if we get into a kind of slugfest, then Villarreal just have a little bit more firepower. So I'm actually going Villarreal outright on the money line. That's plus 165. It came up there. It's coming a little bit, so I wouldn't leave it too long. But yeah, Celta very good against Barcelona and very strong at home. But I think they've been playing against kind of lower quality opposition, Villarreal, of late. And I think they will ultimately, as they did against Barcelona when they applied good pressure, get found out if they play a little bit more ambitious against Villarreal.
Villarreal not in Europe this season, obviously. I don't know what their budgets are like or their structure. I mean, obviously they'd like to get into the Champions League. Have they budgeted for it? Do they think they're going to get there? Was that an aim at the start of the season?
Yeah, certainly they were my pick to finish fourth in the end, but I think Athletic Club have done marvelously well to be ahead of them. It's still in play that they could get fourth. I think Villarreal, because of that lack of Europe, were always favourites to be in the European places. It was just about where they came, and Marcelino, of course, is a manager we know he's very, very good. I think they probably would be about sixth, maybe fifth in terms of budgets. They're owned by a supermarket magnate in Spain, so yeah, they are a decent side with a lot of firepower, but they've been trying to kind of recover from a really down season where they had three managers, and they're trying to kind of rebuild a little bit. So it's natural that there's teething problems, but they're good to watch.
Joe says Villarreal to win and both teams to score plus 320. Won't put anyone off that at all. Noah says Villarreal must be furious. Yeah, robbed of 2 goals against La Real, as Rory's just been pointing out. Noah. Effie says no drawn over, 1.5 goals at Celta Vigo. So you just want one of the teams to win. With 2 goals or more in it. And Joe says, I didn't take Betis to win with both teams to score. I'm going to take this one, says Joe. Yeah, look, I just think you can play the over 2.5, and it's fairly short at minus 157 last I looked. But if you go a little bit further and you go the Asian line, over 2.75 is minus 122. And over 3, which is obviously a push if there are 3 goals, is plus money, plus 108. There just seems to be so many goals in both of these two sides' matches this season. It's slightly different when you break it down to home and away, but it's still worth a bet. I think over is minus 162, as you can see. It's coming just a little bit there. Alaves versus La Real next to look at for us here. Alaves plus 148, Real Sociedad here a plus 215. I mean, Alaves are scrapping for their top flight lives here, Rory, but only 2 losses in their last 7. I don't know what's happened with Real Sociedad at all. Their season seems to have fallen apart after their Europa League exit. But they have got a good record against bottom sides, only been beaten 1 in 8, and they've won 3 of 4 away from home here. I mean, they are seemingly a big price at plus 230 to win at Alaves, given the league positions here. How do you see this one? Is it just because Alaves need the points that they are plus 148 favourites, do you think?
They are a sturdy side, Alaves. They are a team that will make La Real work for it, and in some senses, they're also a team that La Real don't like, in the sense that they're direct, they're physical, they will match up to La Real physically, and will go after them, I think, on the counter-attack. And that's where kind of La Real tend to struggle, is when they have the ball and can't break through sides. But having said that, that does seem a very large price for La Real, given they are fighting for Europe still. They still want to get into the Europa League. They desperately probably want to avoid the Conference League spot. And yeah, for me, this is very much, you're looking at unders. The money line you saw there was at 1.5, which tells you just how much of an issue goals are. But I've gone to the parlay for this one, Dan. I'm going Real Sociedad to win or tie, plus under 2.5 goals. That's coming back at minus 117 as I checked there last. And yeah, because as I mentioned, those goals, I think these teams will cancel each other out a bit, and it could be a tight affair. Alaves, I think, under 2.5 goals, has hit 10 of their last 12 games. So that tells you something. And Real Sociedad as well, more accustomed to playing week in, week out, or twice a week, sorry. Whereas Alaves, coming off an away trip to Seville, Real Sociedad, it's a local trip after a home game. I think that will benefit them a little bit. So I give La Real the edge. I think Alaves will be tough to break down and could even get a result, but I just don't see Alaves winning this one.
No, we've got Real Sociedad and the draw on side here, under 2.5 goals at minus 117. What are the boys saying here? Peter talking about the Villarreal game, likes draw no bet Villarreal or team total over 1.5 goals. Effie says both teams to score no in the Alaves game, which sort of buys into what Rory's saying here. And Steve says, yeah, make sure you press Steve and Nish talking about getting the like buttons up, getting the subscriptions up. Yeah, we like all that. That's Alaves versus Real Sociedad. And finally, for the Spanish roundup, although we've got more from Rory to come, don't worry. Getafe against Real Madrid here. I mean, this is the big game of the night in terms of the title race. I'll ask Rory about the title in a sec. But Real Madrid are minus 165 here to win this one. Look, there's going to be a lot of takers on that money line price, Rory. Real Madrid aren't massively short away at Getafe. Had a decent run earlier on in the calendar year, but their form has dropped off a little bit. They've lost their last 2. They don't score a lot of goals Real Madrid obviously need the win to keep on to the coattails of Barcelona at the top of the table here. What do we think? Getafe against Real Madrid. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we're going against goals here again. I think as well, you have to take into account the Copa del Rey final this weekend, this Saturday night for Real Madrid. So there's a question about how much they rotate. Can they afford to rotate against the side that it's generally, for me, it's the trip to the dentist in La Liga. If you're off your game, if you're not sharp, then Getafe will make you pay, and they'll probably knock a couple of teeth out while they're at it. So yeah, I think unders is a good way to go at this. I've had to kind of work a little bit for my value with my pick, and that's Getafe over 2.5 cards, under 3.5 goals on the parlay. That's at evens just as we speak, plus 100. But yeah, I think it's Kwame said earlier as well that Getafe on the kind of Asian handicap at minus 1.5. You're probably going to have to combine that to get the value you want. I think that was sitting quite low as I looked last, but it is a good bet because since January, Real Madrid have won 2 games by more than 1 goal. And that's out of 16, 17, 18 games. So yeah, that goes to show you just how much Real Madrid have been struggling to put these teams away. And generally, I think Real Madrid have lost the trust factor. I mean, I think with big teams, with teams with quality, you generally have an inkling of how they're going to do, or they will respond if they're not in a good run. They will kind of hit back if they really struggle in games. But Real Madrid, we've not seen that. Defensively, they still struggle against more or less whoever they come up against. And in an attacking sense, as we said, they've struggled to put these teams away and score more than 1 goal. So yeah, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game, a battle. Real Madrid would like to finish this early, but Getafe, even if they've struggled a little bit for form of late, I still like their chances of making this difficult for Real Madrid at the very least.
Yeah, the La Liga table would have Getafe in 6th if it started at January the 1st. Obviously, their form has dropped off a little bit, but they are sneaky good on the odd occasion. And just speaking of the unders, 1 or 2 stats for you here. Under 2.5 goals for Getafe's games, 22 of 32 this season. It's a 5% return on investment. Under 1.5, 13 of 32. Again, that makes your money. But the big kicker is under 3.5, 30 of 32, 9% return on your money. And under 3.5 goals and over 2.5 Getafe cards, plus 100 for Rory, I think is a very, very smart play. A lot of you looking at unders here. Effie says under 3 goals at Getafe. Joe says Madrid can still win the league, but they need to win games like this. A draw is not good enough. Nish says, I agree. Madrid at 1.6 decimal odds can't be trusted for more than 1 goals. I think that's the general consensus. In terms of where the money's been going in these Spanish games for you, the Athletic Club game, most of the money on Athletic Club and most of the money on overs. Both team scorers hitting 6 of Las Palmas' 7. Last 7 La Liga away games. Celta Vigo against Villarreal. Most of the money on Villarreal and most of the money on overs. And again, both teams to score has hit in 7 of the last 8 La Liga matches between Celta Vigo and Villarreal. We like goals in that one, but we're going to go with Villarreal as well, as Rory selected. Alaves Real Sociedad, most of the money has come for Alaves. Most of the tickets on Real Sociedad, which is an interesting split. Also, most of the cash is on unders, even though on overs, even though we like the unders. And 1 or 2 stats for you there. Both team scores failed to hit in each of Alaves' last 5 La Liga home matches. I think 1 or 2 of you were putting up both teams to score knowing that game as well. And then the Getafe Real Madrid game, again, most of the money has come for Real Madrid as expected. And on overs as well, the under 2.5 goals market is hitting 9 of the last 10 La Liga matches between Getafe and Real Madrid. And we have had a $1,000 play on Getafe over 2.5 total corners at minus 250 if you like the corners.
And just a note on Getafe on the big games as well. They have beaten Atletico Madrid 2-1 and drew with Barcelona 1-1 earlier in the season. So that kind of shows you that they are a tough out, certainly for Real Madrid. 3 days before the Copa del Rey final.
100%. I mean, I wouldn't trust. I mean, Real Madrid will probably win, but I just wouldn't trust them at the prices. We've got a special for you. Vinny Jr. to score and Real Madrid to win is plus 255. Is the title race done and dusted? Do you think, Rory? I mean, Barcelona is 7 clear. It can drop to 4 if Real Madrid win tonight. Is it done? Do you think? What are we 5 games to go?
Well, with with 4 games to go, the 4th to last game is Real Madrid against Barcelona at Montjuic. So that's the sort of thing that Real Madrid are hanging on to. But to give you an idea of where the kind of mindset is at. Most of the discussion in Real Madrid or in Madrid is about Carlo Ancelotti's future, who's going to replace him, Xabi Alonso probably coming in, rather than about the title race. So it tells you that Real Madrid's own fans and own media
They think he's gone.
I think there's still a chance. I wouldn't rule them out because they're Real Madrid and because, I mean, Barcelona are looking a little bit tired now. But having said that, you just can't look at this Real Madrid team and say over, 7, 8, 9 months now, have they put in 3 or 4 good performances that you can really stick your hat on and say, yeah, they can do this? No, that's the reason. And so I think that's why most people are backing Barcelona to come home with the title eventually.
Rocco Silva says, please no bias talk, always pro-Barca talk and opposing Real Madrid. We need a pro-Real Madrid handicapper. Are you pro-Barcelona, Rory?
Well, I tipped Real Madrid to win the league this season, so that tells you where I've been.
Exactly.
I really thought that Mbappe would be enough to kind of get them over the line. But yeah, the injuries, the loss of Toni Kroos, I think they've handled things poorer than I expected. And ultimately, this is a Barcelona side that's dropped a lot more points than any other league title winner would have in previous seasons. So if Real Madrid had been kind of closer to their average, closer to their mean, they would be on for this title. But yeah, with that trip to Montjuic, unless they can really string something together, I think they'll struggle.
Ruffo says, yes, he is. Rory is the independent editor of Football España. Has your website got a reputation of being pro one or the other, Rory? It hasn't, has it?
Not that I know of. I mean, I personally think the sign that I'm doing my job is that I get accused of being both a Real Madrid and a Barcelona fan at the same time. So yeah, that's usually quite a good sign I'm doing things right.
Yeah, exactly. Gets grief from both. Can't win, basically. Ben Jordan says, if anyone has watched Madrid's last games, you can't bet on them this price against Getafe. Rafa says, not based off his ex account. Oh, dear. He's following you on Twitter here, Rory. Roffo's coming for you. I'm going to ask Rory about Barcelona shortly when it comes to their game against
If Real Madrid has given me more positive things to say about them this season.
Don't add fuel to the fire, whatever you do. Rory's going to give us some thoughts on the Spanish sides in European football and indeed that Barcelona game against Inter in just a sec. Who do you fancy for the games tonight in Serie A? I'll rattle through 1 or 2 thoughts for you here. Obviously, these games should have taken place on Monday. They didn't, so we've got 4 of them. And they kick off in about an hour's time at 12:30 Eastern. So if you want to get involved in these games on BetRivers at BetRivers website, then the teams will be out. I've not looked at the teams, so I'm just going on 1 or 2 stats. The Parma Juventus game, I spoke with Steve and James on the European show about this one. Steve's likes under 2.5 goals in that game at -114, and James liked Juventus to win. They were -129 when we talked about them on the European show. They're now into 141, so there's been support for Juve. I'll tell you what, I just think the underplay, such a good play there. Christian Kivu is in charge. As we know, at Parma, 5 of the 7 since he's come to Parma have been under 2.5 goals. I think it's a really good play. I know it's relatively short, as you can see at -120, but I think it's as solid as you're going to get. Incidentally, 27 draws from 64 matches. These two sides, they are draw specialists. If you back the draw in every single one of these 2 teams' matches in Serie A this season, you're 28 points in profit. I couldn't put anyone off the draw. I couldn't put anyone off Parma +1 at -150. They've not been beaten by more than a goal under Christian Kivu since he came in charge, and they've drawn with Inter 2-2. In terms of the Torino Udinese game, have a look at Ilif Elmas for a shot on target. He's a left winger, right-footed left winger. He's on loan from Leipzig. He's +110 to have 1 or more shots on target. Elmas is the player that you're looking for. He's had a shot on target in 5 of the 7 games since he came to Torino on loan. He's got 78 all told. 5 in 7 starts, I should quantify, including 2 in each of his last 2. If you want to just split your stakes and put someone anytime goal scorer, he's got 4 goals. That's +370. That's Elmas in the Torino Udinese game. And Genoa Lazio, I think if you look at unders, you're not going to go too far wrong in that one. I know it's pretty short, as you can see there at -186. You might want to go to the Asian line at 2.25. It's -130. 8 of Genoa's last 9 games have been unders. 5 of the last 7 from Lazio are still hurting from that Bird Glimt exit of the Europa League. So those would be my 3 plays, really. I'd go under 2.5 in the Parma Juve game, Elmas shot on target in the Torino Udinese fixture, and under 2.25 on the Asian goal line for Genoa against Lazio. What have we got in the comments here? Effie says Lazio draw, no bet. Also over 2.5 the Cagliari game, and Moise Kean anytime goal scorer. Joe says Parma came back against Inter from 2-0 down. Anything can happen. I played both teams to score in that particular game. In terms of where the money's gone for the Italian fixtures tonight, the teams that have been backed, Juve, Fiorentina, Torino and Lazio best backed in their respective fixtures, and not surprisingly in every single game overs has been back. Overs gets backed in every single game. We need some unders players. Overs just such a public play. Unders the shrewd play. We know that. We've had a $1,500 player in Juventus under 6.5 shots on target at minus 250 in that game against Parma. I'm going to talk Coppa Italia in just a second, because it's Inter versus Milan, second leg of the Coppa Italia. But while I've got Rory with me, I mean, Inter, their schedule is mad at the moment, because they play tonight in that second leg against Milan. Then they play Roma at the weekend. And I know there's been discussion about when that game's actually going to take place, whether it's Saturday or Sunday. I'm not quite sure what they've dropped on at the moment, because it was moved around. And then they play Barcelona. I mean, Barcelona, I don't know what the feeling is, Rory, and your Barcelona bias can come out now. I don't know what the feeling is with. Do they think they're going to hit Inter at a right time because of Inter's schedule? Are they wary of Inter in the Champions League? What do you think?
Honestly, well, first of all, I'd say we need more pessimists in the game like me and you, Dan, to bet those unders. Secondly, I think Inter are going to end up playing on the Sunday because the Pope's funeral is on the Saturday.
Yes, yeah.
And thirdly, I would honestly look at it the other way around. I think this Barcelona side, Inter and Barca are both going to get into this game quite tired. I think Barcelona are a team that have shown in recent weeks that they are not quite as sharp as they were 2-3 months ago. I think it's a side that's lacking more depth, in the sense that they don't really have the options off the bench to come on and change a game in the same way that another side might. Lewandowski is now injured. Balde is probably going to miss at least the first leg as well. So it's a team that's not quite at full strength. I'd make Inter slight favourites, kind of 55-45 for that Champions League semi-final to go through. I think with Inter, they need to be less at their best than Barcelona need to be at their best to win that game. And so I think if you're percentage-wise, you're looking at it, I think Inter are slight favourites for me. The one thing I would say for Barcelona is that individual quality-wise, Lamine Yamal is better than anyone else in terms of his ceiling, and Rafinha's probably been arguably the best player in Spain this season. So they have two players that can cause real bother for Inter. And yeah, in those big moments in the big games against Real Madrid, against Bayern, so far this season, Barcelona have come up trumps. So those are the things working in Barcelona's favour. But I think Inter are a horrible matchup for them, to be perfectly honest.
There you go, Roffo. We're getting something on Barcelona for you. Barcelona are favourites. Not a lot in it, but they are favourites to qualify. Yeah, Inter will give them a good game. That's next midweek. Obviously, we'll have the Champions League boys taking a look at that fixture for you. What else have we got to finish off with? Yes, the Coppa Italia semi-final second leg. Most likely going to play Bologna in the final. Empoli are 3-0 down in that first leg. They play tomorrow. What have we got here in terms of the boys on YouTube? Joe says Milan won't get through this tie. Good players, shaky results. And Byron says, yeah, tough one. Inter's fixture schedule is insane. Like Inter, though, that's in the Champions League game, I guess we're talking about. In terms of this one, I just wanted to throw this one out there. 4 meetings so far between the two Milan sides. Milan have won 2 and there's been 2 draws. Both teams to score yes has hit every single time so far. It's minus 175 here, as you can see. Thuram is a doubt for Inter tonight. I don't think they'll play him. They've got Roma at the weekend, as we mentioned. Barcelona away next Wednesday. And they did lose, of course, to Bologna at the weekend. And they drew with Bayern prior to that. So, the results, the bare results haven't been great. I know that Milan aren't great. Only 1 win of the last 5, but this is their last shot at glory. I think Jimenez may well start. He came off the bench after an injury to play at the weekend. He's fit again. 1-1 is plus 510. Would be no surprise whatsoever. Milan, tie no bet is plus 143. And if you want Milan plus a quarter on the Asian line, it's minus 106. So if it's a draw at the 90, it's a half win. Effie says Milan on the money line, game of the season for them. Completely agree with that. Joe says Arnautovic could play, couldn't he? Plus 260 any time. Yeah, Thuram's definitely going to be out, I think. Nish says I'm avoiding watch them score 3 in the Copa. Pavlovic to get a card, says Joe as well. I think it's an interesting one. It's 3 p.m. Eastern. I think that Milan, they've just seemed to have the edge at the moment over Inter. It's their last shot at glory then. Probably not, well, they won't get Champions League football for sure, but they might win the Coppa Italia. And just that head-to-head makes me think, along with Inter's schedule, that they might just be a little bit of a play. One special for you in that game, incidentally, from our friends at Bet Rivers, Christian Pulisic to score and Milan to win against Inter is plus 850. Do you know what? As a fun bet, I don't think that is the worst at all, because I'm going to play Milan tonight, and Pulisic's been their main guy. He's had a really good season. We've got a few more things with Rory to round up before we let Rory go. First of all, got no graphic for this, but there are games tomorrow, and I know you're not on tomorrow, so let's just rattle through some very quick thoughts on the Thursday games while we have you, Rory. Leganes against Girona, first of all. Any quick thoughts on that one?
Enormous game. Girona have won once in 13, no wins in 10. Leganes are in slightly better form, but are in 19th place and in desperate need of points. Girona have 4 points above the drop zone, so they also desperately need this. Over 2.5 goals at plus 133. Leganes are not a team full of goals, but I think both teams will feel the need to go for this. So I think you might get a cagey start and a very open second half. So yeah, plus 133, I quite like that. But yeah, just enormous game. I'm actually in the process of acquiring a ticket for that.
Wonderful. Great stuff. Osasuna against Sevilla. Sevilla have had a shocking season. They've got a new manager, haven't they? What's the story here? Any lean on the Osasuna-Sevilla game?
Yeah, Joaquin Caparros back for the 4th spell. This is desperate. Can you please support us and stop chanting "sack the board," which I don't think the fans are going to. But yeah, Joaquin Caparros at the very least will simplify things for Sevilla. But I think squad-wise, atmosphere-wise, they're a fade for me. And even if Osasuna have been shaky themselves, they've not been quite as good as they have been in recent seasons. Plus 145 is quite long odds at home for me, this one. Certainly look at Osasuna tie plus something else on the parlay as well. Osasuna, I like to win this one, and they are still just about in the hunt for a European place too.
Atleti, can't trust them at all. I mean, even in their win over Valladolid, they weren't straight. It wasn't a straightforward success, wasn't it? And then they were beaten at the weekend. I mean, their title chances completely gone against a Rayo side that were brilliant at the first half of the season, but have suffered since Christmas, haven't they? Really? Any thoughts?
Yes, they generally tend to do this. This is their general pattern of play with Rayo. I think Atleti have to be favourites just because, having lost to Las Palmas, the fans will be right on their back and they will feel the need to respond, essentially. So yeah, I think I like Atleti in this one. I'm looking at the cards just now, trying to find Aridane Hernandez at plus 480. If he starts, make sure you get sort of a half stake at least on Aridane Hernandez to be yellow carded. He's a centre half for Rayo. He is clumsy and at the end of his career, and Rayo don't really have anyone else. So yes, I expect him to get carded, and I expect Atleti to win.
Okay, that name again?
Aridane Hernandez at plus 480. Rayo centre back, big curly hair, entertaining guy.
Betis Valladolid, last up, home win. Surely this one.
Yes, this is about how many goals Betis will score and what the Asian line will be for Betis, essentially. I like them to put at least 3 goals past this Valladolid side, who did compete better at the weekend, but they were at home. And yeah, Betis are just a much better side with much better players. No game at the weekend, so you're likely to see Isco, Anthony in full flow. Yeah, Betis will score quite a few goals in this one, I think.
There we go. Looking Betis probably to cover the handicap on that one. And lastly, before we let you go, to wrap things up, if you were to have a bet, if I gave you a free $100 play here and you could only choose one bet, and it's either Barcelona to win the Champions League at plus 200, Athletic Club to win the Europa League at plus 200, or Real Betis to win the Conference League at plus 400, where would you place that $100?
You're putting it to me here, Dan. That is a very, very difficult one, just because of the quality of the opposition. Manchester United, sorry to all your fans out there. I think I would put it on Athletic.
Interesting. Yeah.
Home final.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, and it could be bird of glimpse in the final. Who knows what Spurs are going to do in the other side of that? I mean, Real Betis have got a tough draw, I guess, haven't they? In Barcelona, we've already thought that maybe Inter will give them a go. Yeah, I think 2-1 about Athletic Club. It'd probably get my $100 if you were going to give $100 to me, which you're obviously not. And just for the record, I'm not wiring Rory $100 either. Don't at me.
I'll send you my Venmo, Dan.
Yeah. Just incidentally, have we got anything else? No, we've got nothing on the nothing else to report. Best bet for you then on tonight's La Liga before we wrap things up. If you had one play tonight on any of the 4 La Liga games, what would be your best play, Rory?
Honestly, the best or the most likely to hit, I think, is Getafe over 2.5 cards, under 3.5 goals against Real Madrid, plus 100. I think that's the safest and most likely, but most entertaining, most fun is Villarreal to win at plus 165.
Great stuff. Rory, thanks for your company. That is a wrap for Betting Weekly Soccer Live. We've got Tim and Rory coming up shortly, 1 p.m. Eastern for Tennis Live. Lots of thoughts on the tennis. That's coming up in just over an hour's time. The live show is going to be back, of course, tomorrow. And then we've got the Premier League and the European shows coming out. Plus lots of tennis content with Nigel and all of the gang. But from myself and from Rory for today, good luck with your bets. We will see you tomorrow.